Welcome everyone back to another edition of Cleve and Me. As we hope everyone had a very merry and safe Christmas. Hopefully, everyone got something they wanted. Maybe some wrestling gifts were involved, as I know I got a couple. One of them was an AEW shirt on. I don't even know if I could really. I could say anything I want on the air, but it was the "Scissor Me Daddy" shirt from Billy Gunn and the the crew. So that one I got an Orange Cassidy signed figure, and I got some WWE mementos. And well, Big Dog gets me two very nice shirts that I already had, so I'm gonna have to talk to him about that one because usually he asks me. And he got me the new John Cena and the new Cody Rhodes shirt, but come on, he knows I'm getting those right after they come out. So thank you very much to everybody. Thank you very much to anybody that helped make a very Merry Christmas. Cleve, before we talk about getting into the new year, we're not going to break down a lot of storylines today. We're going to talk about a couple of things in terms of who we want to see really break out. We're going to revisit last year's breakout segment around the new year, and then we'll be getting out of here. But how was Christmas, and how are you enjoying the great weather of Hawaii?
Oh, Christmas was fine. I got a couple nice gifts from the fam. The lady got me this really nice microphone that sadly I won't be debuting today on this episode because we got to figure out the right spot to use it in. My granny sent me a couple of things, got a couple more things in the mail since, I'm so far away. It's kind of hard to ship gifts around, get it around the holiday season. But I had a very good Christmas. I had to work, but, work was work at the end of the day. But I just want to. I had a very great Christmas actually, and like Joe mentioned, this is not really a day of reflecting on storylines. This is a day of, just talking about our last year prediction and what we think will be heading forward into the next year of 2023. Sounds crazy to say that, but yes, we're rapidly approaching 2023. Geez, I'm getting old over here.
I feel you on that. As nothing gets easier, that is for sure. Um, yeah, so let's do it. And I'm actually going to give Cleveland a little bit of crap off the bat here because I went back into time, as I need to do a better job of, and listened to last year's New Year's episode. Actually, there was day 1, too, so there was a lot going on around the New Year's time last year. That's when Roman Reigns had COVID, so then Brock Lesnar had to get involved. And interesting, very fun time in wrestling. That being said, I wanted to specifically hear who we thought we want to see in 2022 pop off and win a championship. That's where the question was mostly stemming from. Well, myself went with Kevin Owens, which he did not win a title, but I'm very happy about where he's at right now. And he's definitely going to be growing into the picture. Our boy Ryu Kendrick, Mr. Big Dog, chose Sasha Banks. That's not going too well. Although she did win the tag team women's title, so technically she won a championship, so kudos to Myron there. Mr. Tones chose Tommaso Ciampa to hold on to the NXT title, which we all saw he got a main call up and is a little MIA right now. And Mr. Cleve reminisced and talked a lot about Liv Morgan. And I need to call some bullshit here, Cleve, because all I've heard since the summer, since about June now, is how sick and tired you are of Liv when she had the championship, how she's not stepping up, all this crap, blah, blah, blah. You and Tone's been dogging me on her. And you have the audacity to say last year that she improved in the ring and is deserved of a championship, which she won. So you do get a little bit of credit there, but I'm not letting you get away with her being your 2022 breakout all of a sudden 1 year later to not liking her at all. What is your rebuttal, my good friend Cleve?
Well, I'm just gonna say simply as this: everything that glitter isn't gold. Like I said, Liv Morgan has improved in the ring, but that does, and she won the championship. But I think we see this a lot when people win a championship. You can see that they're not ready for that big moment yet. And that's what happened with Liv Morgan. Now I won't blame it all on Liv Morgan. A lot of it was with the storylines, but I just think she was a very weak book champion. How she cashed it in was horrible. She beat Ronda horribly. She beat Shayna Baszler. It was just like all of her matches really wasn't as believable as I thought it would be. Last year, I was like Joe. I was foggy eyes, just fell in love with Liv Morgan's character, not seeing the real issues with her character, just, you know, riding the waves, as they like to call it. But now I see that, she still has a long way to go to actually be considered a threat to the women's division. Not SmackDown, because what we talked multiple times. SmackDown women's division is just horrible. It's it's whatever it is. But if she were to be on Raw, I think Liv Morgan would be where Tamina and Amara are. No disrespect. So I didn't know I picked her last year. That's funny because, like Joe mentioned, we do need to go back sometimes and look what we say. But I was wrong in a way, and I was also right in a way.
No doubt you were. That's why I had to give you a little crap. And you know what? I didn't even realize this is how much the New Year's throwing me off already. I put this episode live up on YouTube, so I'm gonna have to just so you know, Cleve, we are live on YouTube, and I didn't even mean to do that. So we're having technical difficulties today between his mic and his connection and my stupidity of putting us on YouTube. But Cleve, at the end of the day, though, you did get her getting a push right. So I'll give you a little credit at the same time. Also looking at it from a different perspective, we're now heading into 2023. Last week, we talked about, people were appreciative of Sami Zayn, Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, Roman Reigns, and so much more. That we're, Cleve, it's going to be hard to argue who might be the top star in 2023. Not deserved of a title because this man already has one. But to me, it's going to be hard for MJF to be beat out in 2023. Agree or disagree?
I agree. It took him a long time to get the belt. And now I think with all the controversy surrounding AEW and Dean Ambrose, John Moxley's out of vacation, there's not really no clear-cut star that's better than MJF at the moment. So I think AEW just rides this wave until his contract is up in 2024. We said that a few months ago, like that was a long time away, but literally that's 1 year, probably a year or so change away from, when this contract comes up. So I think it will be a very, very interesting year how they play his championship run. Because if they fumble it, then I definitely see MJF taking his bags and walk to the WWE.
Yeah, because his contract, we all know we're 2024 is headed with the big contract and all that fun stuff. I just wanted to bring him up because he flashed in my head because, Roman Reigns, Cleve, I wanted to put him way up there, but it looks like some point in this year, he's going to be dropping one, if not both the titles.
Oh, 100%. I think he's going to take a break, probably right at Mania or so. I know he's on a part-time schedule, but he's been champion for almost 2 years now. I think eventually you start burning out as a champion. And a lot of fans are ready for something new, even though the Bloodline has been the best thing to happen in a long, long time. Each brand needs their own world champion.
Oh, I could not agree more. When you have one title tied up for so long, it's one thing. But when you have two titles tied up that long with one person, it's another. And then on top of that, they have both tag teams tied up in the Usos, which, hey, all is fine. There's not a lot of complaints about this right now. A lot of people have loved the Bloodline and what they do. So I'm not going to argue them for that. But at the same time, you get a little bit, not like bored or stale, but like you just want to see something new. And with the people coming back, I think it's important for us to know that, hey, we have a lot of superstars here. and we need to see who could battle out for these titles at the end of the day, because it's going to become very important. Guys like Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre. I mean, the tag team division, we need to grow up. The list goes on and on and on. So it's going to be interesting. Cleve, hold on the fort for me real quick and give me who you want to see get a real strong push here over the next, we're not going to go full year, but someone into Mania season you want to see a real strong push by.
I have always been a fan of Baron Corbin. I know that they fumble a lot with his character over the past few years and whatnot, but him pairing up with JBL, I believe, is the right move. And he's one of the guys that he's a perfect heel. Fans hate him. He's good in the ring. He's great on the mic, actually. He could cut a really great promo. So I would really love to see Baron Corbin in a middle card picture later down the road. I know he's a heel in both the Intercontinental and United States champions are currently held by heels, but maybe sometime after Mania when they possibly change hands, Baron Corbin can finally get his opportunity to move up in the cards. It seems like he's a lower card guy at the moment. When I say lower toward the middle, really in that gap area where he should be middle upper tier, in my opinion.
Wow, that's a surprise. Yeah, I'm like, I did not expect to hear a Happy Corbin, Baron Corbin segment right here. I'm not going to be lying to you on that one. So, that's how that's going to go. I don't know. I'm getting very confused. I'm sorry. I'm being sidetracked, people. I was trying to put this live and send it out to people. I don't even care anymore, and I'm not doing all that. So it's probably just going to be us two in this echo chamber, as we call it. Okay, so you're going to go that route. I'm very unprepared and have no idea who I'm going with right now. So I'll get back to that later. What wrestlers do we want to return at the Royal Rumble is one thing I posed to you. And Cleve, for me, it's easy. It's Cody Rhodes. It's such a damn shame he had that injury. It was after Hell in a, it was before Hell in a Cell, but after the match. So it was, I think that was June when me, you, Tim Crowley, and Tones went. I want to say for your last two Raw. He did nothing but put up phenomenal matches during that time. Those 3 segments with Seth Rollins, unbelievable. Storyline was great. I want him to come back. I want him to win the Royal Rumble, and I would love for him to fight for a main title at WrestleMania, however they work that in. I don't know if Randy Orton's going to be ready yet. His injury, unfortunately, seems a little bit longer and fine in the tooth. So, unfortunately, we might have to wait until the summer to hear from him, as they don't want to rush things. Cleve, I'm going to throw a little spin at you here as I finally got my crap together. Woman-wise, we're looking at Charlotte Flair. We're looking at, some people are there like Asuka. Asuka deserves more, as she had a very underwhelming 2022. We're looking at Alexa Bliss, who now seems to be popping onto the scene as she has a championship match this Monday. Bayley and her group finally have got things together, which I did call last year. I said I hope Bayley goes back to Raw after her injury and brings excitement. She did that with Damage Control, so I'm going to give myself a little pat there. But from a woman's perspective, we have Ronda as champion on one side, Bianca as champ on the other. My question to you is this: who would you like to see return as a woman? Part 1. And number 2, who would you like to see win a championship as a woman in this 2023 year coming up?
I'm going to throw you another curveball. Well, not on who returns. I think Charlotte returns, and I think that it's a long time coming. The crazy thing about Charlotte is I think people don't understand how great of a wrestler Charlotte is. When Charlotte's around, people complain. We're tired of her. But now that she's gone, all I see on Bleacher Report is, please come back, Charlotte. Save the SmackDown Women division. Please, please, please. And I just find that so funny that, when you're here, people hate you, but when you're gone, they realize how much you mean to the women's division, because Charlotte is the greatest woman wrestler of all time. You can argue all you want, but there has never been a women's wrestler in WWE that has had that much just do what the queen of wrestling does, which is Charlotte Flair. And the woman I want to win a champion in 2023, here's the curveball, Joe. Shayna Baszler. I would love to see a Shayna and Ronda match at WrestleMania. Shayna is one of those women wrestlers that have really just never got the push that she truly deserves. It happened a few times. She did face Liv Morgan, and I talked about her earlier in that whatever type of match. But I always felt that she could potentially be up there on the level of the three horsewomen, where Bayley, Bayley, Becky, and Charlotte. Like Shayna's great in the ring. Like she's terrifying, and I think she would make a phenomenal champion. The only problem is I don't think she can ever be a face. She's more of a heel type person, and I don't know if Ronda's a tweener or whatnot. I think Ronda's a heel, but if they could make that work somehow, I would really love to see Shayna Baszler become the SmackDown Women's Champion in 2023.
I really, unlike the Happy Corbin one where I was like, I go back and forth a little bit. I actually like the Shayna Baszler idea, and here's why. Number one, she's somebody who came from the USC as a badass, and we kind of ruined that over time. They try to get a little bit creepy with us with her doing blood, try to make her a real badass. So that was kind of interesting. It just didn't really work, the dynamic she had, because she was hidden for so long. So that one, I was like, man, we need to redo something with her, get it rebranded. And I'm very happy that she got back in the game. And now that she's paired with Ronda Rousey, you could go two ways. You could keep her with her for a long time, or you can make it where they turn on each other and have a great rivalry. Is right now, I know Ronda, when people listen to this episode, she'll still probably be championship after she fights Raquel Rodriguez. Maybe not, but we'll find out because they're going to need a different direction to go into the Royal Rumble season. And then getting back to Charlotte Flair, she doesn't really need to win a title right away, but I definitely want her mixed in a good storyline. Maybe, what would you think about Charlotte going to Raw and rivaling with Bianca?
Dude, Joe, I feel like we did this. We've been doing this show for years because it seemed like you read my mind. I was literally thinking that at the moment when I said Charlotte return, instead of pushing her over to SmackDown. And I just think SmackDown just needs time to develop their women's wrestling. I think Charlotte coming back will stunt a lot of their growth because you have so many young talent like Shotzi, Rakia. I hope I said the name right. Aaliyah, Liv. You have all these other unproven talent on SmackDown that needs time to prove themselves. And that's what SmackDown really is to me. It's more of a undeveloped stars that need time to prove themselves. You put her on Raw where all the major stars are. And you got Becky, you got Damage Control, Asuka who's possibly making a heel turn. There've been rumors of lately. Alexa Bliss, it's just so many more opportunities on Raw compared to SmackDown. And I don't think Bianca and Charlotte has had a match yet. I think that's the only of the four horsewomen that Bianca has not had a match against yet. She beat Bayley. She beat Becky. She beat Sasha. I think Charlotte is the last notch on her belt. And I think a match at Mania between those two, you could somewhat have it as the past and the future, or the present and the future, whatever how you want to make it go. But I think this will make a phenomenal storyline. And it really wouldn't matter who comes out on top, because I think we would just be enjoying seeing these two great women wrestlers go at it.
Yeah, and I'm trying to see here. Yeah, I'm not seeing, they're saying pretty tight to the vest. We're going to see so many of those returns in the Rumble, which if I want to put a date on that, I believe it's the last week in January or first week of February. Let's go into it. Saturday, January 28th. It will be in San Antonio, Texas. I'm so jealous I will not be able to be there. I'm definitely going to try to have a Royal Rumble party. That is for sure going to happen. not man, they're going over matches that should be booked, all this kind of crap. But anyways, giving you guys somebody who I would like to really see, and it'd be very well deserved. I talked about Kevin Owens last year. Now I'm going to talk about him again a little bit right now. He's done a lot of good things with not having a title involved. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now he's, rumbling back with Roman Reigns in the bloodline. He's not in a title match right now. I've known he's gotten his shots in the past. But Kevin Owens did a stand-up job in first, he got a new contract, which was good for a few years. And then he put himself in so many good storylines. So I just think this year we should get back to him. And it doesn't have, I'm not saying he has to have the Universal or even the WWE title, but at least, maybe get him in that IC title picture, US championship picture. Also, another guy who's just dealt with the USA title, who's going back and forth, and actually was the 2022 male superstar of the year and lost his most matches of his career in this year, Seth Rollins. People could say it's Roman Reigns' yard. It is, but at the same time, Seth Rollins to me has half of that yard. And being on Raw, those are the top two male superstars in the WWE right now. And Cleve, I know they were involved a lot, KO and Seth. All I'm saying is I think they deserve some big time victories coming this new year.
Oh, most definitely. I know it's been rumored, and we talked about it, that possibly KO and when the bloodline eventually kicks Sami Zayn out, which, spoiler alert, fans, it will happen eventually. I think they probably form a tag team and take the belts off the Usos. And I mean, that'll be two childhood friends winning the tag team belts in WWE at the biggest pay-per-view in wrestling history. Would probably be a really surreal moment. And possibly later on the year, maybe one or two gets in the main event picture. I think Kevin Owens has already had his chance, but man, Sami Zayn, to me, I know I've been talking about it a lot for these past few weeks, but I think he deserves a chance to fight for the big belt. I think he's really over with the crowd. He's entertaining. He's hilarious. He's good on the mic. He's good in the ring. I think it's time now to push Sami Zayn to the moon. Put the rocket on his back and just let him fly and go. The fans love him. I think he's arguably the second most popular guy in Bloodline after Roman Reigns. And my last thing, I didn't give my who I would love to see back in the Rumble pick yet. I think this is all pretty obvious. The rumors have been going around. The great one, The Rock. I would probably lose my mind if you smell when The Rock entrance comes out in whatever number, probably 30. But you talk about one of those moments like when Edge made a return. I think The Rock coming back would definitely send the arena into a frenzy. Twitter world, everyone would just be talking about The Rock has finally returned. We know we just recently had a bad thing going on with the DC movie where they let him go. So he's got some free time on his hand, which is perfectly fine with us wrestling fans because it is WrestleMania season. So I would love to see Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, make his at the Royal Rumble.
Well, we've talked about it for so long now. Cleve, last year was a little bit different. I made it a point to say a million times probably that The Rock, it would be awesome if he was involved, but at the same time, we're not going to be upset because we know how busy things are and we know how long the storyline is being played out. Do you agree with me that? And I'm going to stick to this statement. I'll be very disappointed if we don't get The Rock at WrestleMania this year. In Hollywood, it just makes too much sense.
I think so too. Just because they've been hyping it up for the last year, it's a reason why they picked Hollywood. I think is because they know it'll attract all the stars, and the biggest star is currently Dwayne Johnson. Whether you like him or not, I know it's been a lot of. It's crazy, a little off top, but it's crazy how a lot of people have turned on Dwayne The Rock in the past few months or so. He's one of the.
What do you mean for the? What do they turn on him for? For those stupid comments by Rogan?
Well, that and then the movies, and then it's just
with the Black Panther or whatever.
Yeah. And it's ridiculous that a guy has one bad. I didn't see Black Adam, but I hear mixed reviews about it. But even so, every actor's had a bad movie, but we don't go shit on them and go, hey, oh, The Rock is. It's just like, dude, come on, let's be serious here. The Rock is one of the biggest actors in the world at the moment. Whatever movie he touched is automatic box office sales. And like I said earlier, with the whole thing with DC not working out, and I don't think The Rock has any movies coming out or any planned movies coming up, I think this is the best time for WWE to say, hey, Rock, we know you probably got one match left in you, and I think with this being in Hollywood, this is our best chance for you and for the fans to get that one last hoorah, because we all know as The Rock gets up there in age, we're not going to see him as much as we would love to see him in the ring.
Oh, I would argue that his next stint is probably his last. It will have to be a little bit of a stint because, you have so much involved and so much anticipation in the bloodline. So when he does find time, it's not only just finding time for one match, it's finding time for, at least 4 weeks, probably 4 to 8 week time span. And the last time he really did that for that long was the John Cena rivalry in 2012/2013 into 2014, which was awesome because people don't appreciate how great that era was. You had Cena and Punk on top of the world for the most part, and then The Rock inserted himself when it mattered most. And Cleve, the more I talk about, the more amped I get because when The Rock is there, everyone, even if you're not a big wrestling fan anymore, people tune in for people like The Rock.
Oh, of course. I mean, dude, you put a live mic in The Rock hands, and anything goes. And it's just he's arguably one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. You can probably throw out a lot of names, but in my opinion, I have The Rock number one. And what he accomplished in those 6 years in the WWF will never be accomplished again by any other wrestler. From going to the most hated guy on the roster to the most beloved wrestler of all time. No one will ever top what Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, has accomplished. And speaking
Except
of
for
your
John
boy,
Cena.
yeah. Speaking of your boy John Cena, he makes his return tonight in a much anticipated tag team match with KO, Roman, and Sami Zayn on the last SmackDown of 2022. I am eager. I am pumped to watch it. I really haven't had time to watch SmackDown like that because usually my Fridays are busy. But you know what? I'm going to watch Friday tonight because I want to see John Cena back in the ring. John Cena to me is quick. My bad. Cena's sort of like what The Rock is in his career at the moment. We won't get that many John Cena appearances, so when he does make his appearance, it's a one of those feel good type moments because it won't last much longer.
Yeah, and I got so excited I wanted to talk real quick on John Cena. We gave our predictions last week. Find us on Spotify at Cleve and Me. Go on our Twitter at Cleve and Me. Like, subscribe, do all that bullshit. Get involved because we have not stopped giving you content for the most part every single week since about 2019 now. So we don't miss many weeks. Cleve and Me, Twitter, Spotify. Find last week's predictions on that matches. We won't go through it now. But of course, I would love to see John Cena and Kevin Owens get the win tonight. Is there two of my favorite stars? Cleve, I was on Twitter yesterday, and I'm trying to see if it was full of crap or not. And when I say that, I'm talking about ticket prices for tonight. Once they found out John Cena was in the mix, they sold so many tickets. Obviously, he hasn't fought in 2022. He doesn't fight a lot in general anymore. And this being in Tampa, Florida, one of the best places to be. I was looking at somebody's tweet, and they said they saw floor seats for like thousands of dollars. I'm trying to go on now and see how much a floor seat would be. Not as bad. On Ticketmaster, you could still find floor seats for about $500. Not that I would pay that much although we have before, but you don't get to keep these seats. We did the VIP at least last time. But tickets are very sold out. I mean, usually, Cleve, you can find tickets in most sections. They're actually. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wow. That was just on the January 6th one. December 30th, Amalie Arena where the Lightning played. That's where I might have got my ticket. All right, give me what you think, Cleveland, before we get in. Give me what you think on a floor ticket would price at right by the stage where the people come out. What are you thinking?
At least about for tonight's show with John Cena return, you're probably looking at a cool $800 at least.
And don't forget, Roman Reigns doesn't fight much on SmackDown or
that's
Raw anymore.
Yeah, two main attractions. Yep.
So for 2 seats that people are reselling because I guess they either couldn't go or are trying to give them up last second, $1,000 before fees per ticket. And that's not for aisle seats. That's like for a middle of a row where you're stuck.
Dude, $1,000 for a row. It's not even a front seat. The row,
a floor
middle?
seat, but not. It's in the middle, and you don't get to keep your seat even.
Oh, dude, that's the best part about going to the show is keeping the seats. I mean, that makes sense. John Cena is like, he's like, if you look at other sports, to us, he's probably like a Tom Brady or a MJ or a Bron, just a great person. I mean, as those guys' career wind down, I'm pretty sure stadiums were selling out to get a last look at this, tell their kids, hey, I saw John Cena's last match. So I'm not surprised, but it's just for a random, I mean, it's not a random SmackDown, but $1,000 for a seat on SmackDown, whew, John Cena is a moneymaker. I'm telling you, he's a draw. Wherever he goes.
You could tell they opened up a couple more sections near the top of the arena because they were selling so much. You could still go to the show for as low as about $40, but you're going to be obviously sitting up there. And for people that haven't been to Amalie Arena, Tampa Bay Lightning Stadium, it's a legit, very well set up hockey arena. They don't, obviously have that much better. So it's a beautiful scene to take in. But even the inside is pretty nice. It's better than Cleve, where we went to in Chicago. Obviously in Rosemont is that place seems to get more and run down as the years go on. But it's going to be a real big scene tonight. And the people who are going, take it all in, enjoy it. Because Cleve, it could be the last time ever Roman Reigns and John Cena go at it.
Oh, 100%. Well,
unless something happens into Mania, maybe.
But even then, this is possibly, and what if? Just saying, what if? I don't think what happened. What if Roman gets pinned tonight? That'll definitely be worth your money to see a guy that hasn't been pinned in almost, I think it's going on 2 years and some change, gets pinned on the last SmackDown of 2022. You talk about memories to tell people for years and years about. I mean, it's just cool. You got 2 big box office draws, plus you got Kevin Owens, who has a big fan base, and Sami Zayn with a huge fan base, and they're all compact in the main event for the show. The show could be trash, but those 4 names will save the entire show.
In comparison to the NFL, since we always love and talk the NFL, this is truly like, to me, when Brady and Rodgers went at it in the NFC Championship a couple seasons ago, and Tom Brady got the win in Lambeau, because you're getting, Roman Reigns, yes, like Aaron Rodgers, he's still around all the time. And he's, still in the back end near his prime. Tom Brady, on the other hand, he left New England. He's in Tampa. He's living the good life. Similar to John Cena, who he's still around. But at the same time, when you talk about that said person, you're always talking about all their championships and everything they brought in the past, whether it was the early 2000s with Mr. Brady in New England, or the mid 2000s with the losses to the Giants, or the later wins they've had. They've always come through when he was at New England. Similar to Cena from the early days of him getting involved with, ruthless aggression, the Attitude Era, through the PG area, which people say he helped create. It's been a miraculous run, and everyone should truly enjoy it. As I said, of course, I'll be at the Bulls game 2 weeks ago when Cena first comes back. I'm there and they lose by 30. So let's not hope for that repeat again tonight. Cleve, so we talked a little bit about who we want to see come out of the picture in 2023. I gave you a little bit of crap on Liv Morgan, even though you were partly right, because she did win a championship, even though you still always rag her, which is just not right. I wanted to ask you about a couple of random things. We talked about Miro / Rusev a little bit lately in the last month because he isn't involved in storylines, and we're not sure if he's going to get released or they're just waiting for the right time. But Lana was on a station, the very, very beautiful Lana. And she said, and not word for word, but Cleve, I don't know if you heard it, but she said that everyone eventually always /ends up back in the WWE from her word of mouth. Now, a lot of people are thinking to themselves, well, if she said that, is that something she got from Rusev / Miro, or what's going on here? But when Lana says everyone always ends up back in WWE, that's a pretty mind-blowing comment when you're still in AEW.
Well, it's true. I mean, look at from when Hogan left to go to WWE, little old here, but when Hogan left to go to WCW, made his return, Nash, Hall. I mean, Cody Rhodes is probably the biggest example of the past few years. Cody Rhodes literally shit on WWE for 2 whole years, and he ends up back in the company. Same with probably Miro, which honestly I really don't. I think Miro, I don't really want him back. Lana, not either. She's a pretty face, but she wasn't good in the ring either. So I mean, it's a very good statement. I do believe that eventually everyone comes home, and home to a lot of wrestlers is the WWE. Chris Jericho's another guy I think that was in his career in WWE because he's doing phenomenal things in AEW, but his home was the WWE.
And to be fair, they did do Rusev bogus towards the end. They put him in stupid storylines with, the weddings and all that. I remember Lana and Liv. There was just a lot of things going on. And, you bring up a good point. How excited would I be if they did return? Not nearly as excited as the first big name to come back, that being Cody Rhodes. We've had some others come back like Gallows and Anderson who have mini pops. I would never mind somebody coming back. I appreciate all the talent, but it wouldn't be a big pop for me unless they just, Cleve, if they go back to the original Rusev Lana where it's all about his country, it's all about the pride, it's all about, I don't even know if it's Bulgaria or wherever the heck it is, the Hungarian. I know they always used to call them those nicknames, but to me, they would have to bring back almost. Is it bad to say that I almost want him with the long hair coming back because that's when I think he was at his best?
No, I think we all agree before he was, and I know you might hate when I say this, before he was buried by John Cena, losing 3 matches in a row, Rusev was a badass with the long hair. And then, Rusev Day stuff was cool too, but I think once they got rid of English, I think he made that gimmick work more. It just felt like Russo just sort of fell in the waves, just like not really going any direction for real. But I do think that if they were to bring him back, they should probably bring him back as I think he was Hungarian. I think he was the Hungarian. It was one of those two. I'm pretty sure it was Hungarian, but his character when he first arrived at WWE was unique. Wrestling without the shoes, just a badass. Then he had this Russian wife who isn't even Russian for real, which is also hilarious. But have his Russian wife on the side and stuff. I think you can bring him back if it works out. But you made a very good point. It always left a bad taste in my mouth when WWE would do guys wrong on the way out. Dean Ambrose, they was feeding him to Nia Jackson on his way out, and that was just really sad to see for a guy that was probably one of the greatest factions in WWE history. But I think it's a possibility for Rusev. I take back my statement where, I wouldn't say I wouldn't want him back, but if it's only for the right price and that they have the right storylines for him, because a lot of these guys that are coming back, it just seems like they're back now. What to really, do with them?
And that's been a little bit of a complaint from some people on Triple H. It's great he's bringing people back, but just like AEW when they started to get really, really big, hard to find a lot of time for them. I thought it was a perfect quote by my boy Tim Crowley at our Christmas party last week, Cleve, who you know very well. He said, look, I love AEW and the factions, but does everybody need to be in a damn faction? That was the perfect comment because he hit it right on the head. Factions are great, but then again, sometimes do we just throw a bunch of people together because that's the only way they could get TV time? That's a little bothersome.
I agree. I think AEW also. Well, they only have two shows, right? It's AEW the main show, and they have their Friday.
Yeah,
And I think
Dynamite's on Wednesday on
yeah,
TBS, and Friday's a tape recording Rampage on TNT.
yeah. I remember it was funny because I was actually watching a '90s pay-per-view recently. Back in 99, 98, 98, 99 with WWE, they had a whole bunch of like factions too. There's a whole bunch of silly ones, but it does after a while get worn down just because you got to find other ways to get guys on TV without having five guys in a group because then you're gonna have to have them feud with five other people. You can't have a 5-on-3 type feud. It just makes no logical sense at all. So it is a troublesome issue, and I think you hit it right on the head when you mentioned Triple H thing. Is that as great as it is having all these guys back, Triple H, what are you going to do with all of them? And I seen a Facebook post recently about a wrestler where Karrion Kross recently got booed out of a show, and fans aren't that excited about Karrion Kross. But I will say the only thing about the big difference between WWE and AEW, WWE has multiple shows where they still have NXT UK that is coming up in probably 2023. I think that a rebranding of that. So you could possibly move guys from the main roster that are from the Europe continent and put them on the UK. And I think you can help that way out where they get more TV time and you can help build that fan base over there. I think Rusev will be phenomenal over there because I'm not the greatest with geography, but I'm pretty sure Hungarian is in Europe. So that would be a great way to reintroduce him and reintroduce some of the younger new stars. But yeah, after a while, it just becomes an issue where you got a group of five people every time you look up. It's like, geez, we just want a one-on-one or a two-on-two. We don't want to keep seeing a six-man or a four-man tag team match.
Yes, and the Bulgarian Brute, thank God I had to look that up. Born in Plovdiv, but he chose to represent Russia in his early WWE main roster. That was the story. Cleve, I wanted to bring up, I wanted to respond to your Karrion Kross. I can't decide because I love what Karrion Kross did in NXT. And I really thought that him and Scarlett Bordeaux would make a huge scene on the SmackDown. But after the Drew McIntyre stuff, it's kind of, they're not doing a bad job because I don't think there's really room for him right now. But my question is this: do you think he'll ever be one of the big heels in the business, or is he simply more of a mid-card guy in your eyes?
I think after that slow kind of feud with Drew McIntyre, I think we all can come into agreement that Karrion Kross is a middle card guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. I know a lot of people, not everybody meant to be a world's champion, not everyone deserves to be a world's champion, but I think he's a middle card guy. I just don't think that even with Scarlett, as beautiful as she is on his arm and his pretty cool entrance and whatnot, there's sort of a bland thing about Karrion Kross once you get past all the other stuff where he's just like, he really doesn't stand. You know how you got certain guys that stand out in the room where if you would have put 10 of those guys in the room, you would be like, whoa, he's impressive. He has potential. Then you got the rest was just like, maybe, maybe not. And I think he kind of fell into that category of just another face in the crowd, basically.
Yeah, and I love you, Scarlett, like you, Karrion, but we'll see. Like, for example, not to keep going down this pipeline, but I'm even starting to think, like, what's going on with Bray Wyatt? Are we just carrying this out because they don't know exactly what to do, or do they have a really set up plan behind it? Because I believe there is a big time plan for him, but it's starting to get like they focused on him more early, it seems, Cleve, and not as much now. Do you disagree with that? And where do you think he's headed?
Well, that's funny you brought up Bray Wyatt because they recently had a live show and Bray Wyatt made his much highly anticipated return to the ring against
Really?
Jinder Mahal. Oh yeah, Joe.
Did you see
Yeah.
AJ Styles got hurt on the live
Oh
show?
yeah.
Not
I was gonna point that out too. Sad to hear that about AJ Styles. He's one of the workhorses of the WWE, a guy that was there week in and week out, and hopefully it's just a rolled ankle or something, nothing that'll keep him out from Mania season because that would just really suck for a guy like AJ Styles to miss Mania. But I think the big picture with the Bray Wyatt, it's all about slow building. I think it's
that's
all
fair.
about patience and just not. Because then here's the thing, Joe. You don't want to fall into the category of these clown wrestling fans that complain that, oh, WWE rushed the storyline. Oh, WWE didn't let it build. And now when they do let something build, people are just like, oh, I don't care. It's just like, geez, like, just let it build.
It is
Let's see
hypocritical.
where it's going. It is. I would say it has slowed a bit, but we also
On
that
my
this
end, I'm
eventually
saying,
lead
not
to
your
him
end.
and LA. Oh no, I'm still enjoying. I think he's cutting great promos. I think him and LA Knight, I think that's the guy's name. I think they are
It
really
is.
doing a really good job. And it's a way to introduce LA Knight because he comes from NXT. And if you don't watch NXT like me, and probably a lot of other people that only watch the main roster, you don't know who the hell LA Knight is. So this is a great way to introduce him and to slowly bring back Bray Wyatt. And we see Uncle Howdy, which I'm pretty sure is Bo Dallas, but we're gonna keep letting the mystery play itself out. I was a little bit skeptical, but when I saw him come out, when I saw Uncle Howdy come out on the stage and Bray Wyatt was in the ring, I said, okay, Bray Wyatt's not Uncle Howdy for sure. But I think this storyline just takes patience and just wait. The Royal Rumble is coming up. This is the thing about a lot of wrestling fans don't realize. Without a pay per view in December, you have an entire month to build stories, to tell stories, and to work out some issues before you jam pack it. So, because once the WrestleMania season get here, all hands are on deck. Feet to the ground. We need everyone there, and I think not to say this is a good thing that AJ Styles got hurt, but it was sort of a blessing in disguise because maybe he did need some time off. And it's perfect that it came right before the Royal Rumble. So maybe he can nurse that ankle for, you said January 28th. That's about, what, a month away? I'm pretty sure I've never had a real ankle injury before, but I mean, if it's a rolled ankle or something, hopefully it only takes a week or so. I mean, probably 2 weeks or so, good healing, good resting and whatnot, and then he's prepared to go back into WrestleMania season. But I'm gonna finish with I'm patient with the Bray Wyatt storyline, and I'm sad that AJ's hurt, but maybe this is a bigger picture, bigger plan for AJ Styles when he heal up and be completely fresh for WrestleMania season.
Yeah, and I'm laughing here at a picture right now because they are posting it like crazy. I mean, tonight's so big time. It's a picture of Cleve of on the left, it's Sami Zayn, Roman, Cena, and KO. And on the right, it's four goats saying they're all just the fucking goat. So, I mean, you better stream in for this live and be texting the group chat about what's going on because I'm going to watch this and break it down in detail when I get home from Chicago. And I might as well lead that into next week. Cleve, we were supposed to wait till next week to go live. We accidentally went live today thanks to my wrongdoing. We're going to bring it in hot and heavy next week. We've been talking about a lot of Christmas feel-good stories of 2022, feel-good New Year's things going into 2023. Next week, we're getting right back into all the storylines. We're getting right back into the Royal Rumble because to me, Cleveland, right now, like the football season, we're getting towards the end of the regular season here, and everybody's got to step up if they want to make that Royal Rumble pitch. Am I right?
Oh, 100%. We're gonna be on top of our A game, like Joe Lynch, who has been a real good feel good moment. As you fans have noticed, I have not trash talked the Giants, which might change today because you know what? Skip the trash Giants. You know what? There's
Colts
7.
play the Giants this weekend.
Go Colts. You know what? I don't care who you guys. I don't care who you guys roll out as a starter, as a quarterback. Hell, Jeff Saturday could play quarterback. I don't care. It's just as long as you guys beat the Giants, so I can rub this in Myron's face that the Giants started the season. I think it was 5-2, and now possibly are going to miss the playoffs. Ha ha, talk crap now.
They're not going to lose to Nick Foles. Nick Foles is like he's like Kurt Hawkins when he was on his 0-3,000 losing streak.
Well, you know what they call him? They call him Big Nick. So maybe he shows up that game. But
let me tell you what, there was nothing in that boy's pants last game. He couldn't complete a damn pass to save his life. It was like trying to watch Ronda Rousey do a promo, just cringeworthy.
Well, here's the thing, though. You guys have nothing to play for. So you guys, honestly, this is the best part of the season. It's funny we just got on football a bit. You guys can literally just play spoiler to a couple of teams. I think you got 2 games left, possibly. You can literally ruin somebody's season by beating them, knowing you have nothing to play for. And that's what you guys can do Sunday. Spoil the Giants' season. That would absolutely be hilarious to see the Giants miss the playoffs.
And no doubt about it. Hey, Cleve, we went longer than we expected. We thank everybody for listening. Next week, we're going to be coming actually live and be well prepared and set up. We'll all have good backgrounds. We'll have on our wrestling gear, whether we have a belt, a shirt. We're going to be getting into it hot and heavy next week. Everyone, though, be safe. I know everyone came off of Christmas. Now it's time for a new year. To me, it's one of the most overrated holidays, but I won't play a negative vibe down to it now. Everyone, hopefully, be smart, take Uber, take Lyft, get where you need to be with the ones you love, and have a good time. My good time starts tonight with the United Center, and then my dessert is John Cena match. So I am really looking forward to this weekend to really get kicking after I got to sleep in a little bit today. Cleve, before we get out of here, anything you got that we did not talk about? And what is your closeout?
I don't think we talk about everything that needs to be said. I just want to give a quick closeout. My Cowboys won yesterday. Hell yeah, shout out the Cowboys. Looks like fingers are crossed. We're probably going to finish 4th seed. I know Tones is going to hate me for saying this. But Tones, I really do hope Bucks lose to Carolina because I don't think anyone wants to play Tom Brady in the playoffs. And I think I would rather play Sam Darnold than Tom Brady.
Oh, absolutely.
So, not to be a hater this week, Tones, but you got to understand, for the sake of my team, I don't want us to play Brady in the playoffs. And, yeah, I just want to say what a crazy year this has been, from me graduating college to moving out here into Hawaii, going to wrestling shows with Joe. Memories like that I will never forget. 2022, priceless. Has been a wonderful year. I was gifted 2 great nieces this year. Just a lot to be thankful for this year. And 2023 is coming up, and we got a lot planned for Cleve and me. Look out. Maybe, we're definitely going to have more great guests. And I always tell myself that you can always improve on what you did the year before. And my goal for 2023 is to improve on everything I did last year, but do it way better. Whether it is my health, working, just anything, just to improve upon the year before. So that's my goal for 2023. And thank you to all our listeners that have been with us since the very beginning. And I can't wait for you guys to join us in the new year.
Yeah, I can't believe we're already on 3 years of doing this fun show that we now call Cleve and Me. And it's truly been a blessing. We don't take it overly serious. We're not trying to scratch for guests at the moment. We're not trying to, bring you a bunch of nonsense. We're simply here to talk wrestling and give you our opinions and bring on people that enjoy talking about wrestling. Anybody that ever wants to step up, go at Cleve and Me on Twitter, at Cleve and Me on Spotify. Find us, like us, message us, give us your thoughts, give us your comments. People can always hop on as they please. But for that being said, I think Cleve said it very good. It's been a very blessed year, and we're headed on to another blessed year with Cleve and Me. So enjoy the big match. Enjoy as we keep bringing you content next week and into the Royal Rumble, because we know this is the WrestleMania Super Bowl coming up here in April, and we're just getting ready for it. Thanks again for joining all. Everyone stay safe and happy New Year.